And here we are, we're live. Yay.
Woo!
Okay. I am very excited, you guys. I just went ahead and jumped on a little early because Peter and I were talking about everything websites, all related and stuff. And he has a very scary story for us. So we
We
want to
have a
share that.
story time.
Yes, we do. Hey, Peter, welcome.
Thanks. Good to be here, Michelle,
Yes.
and talking to your people here.
Our peoples. So what we're going to do, you guys, is Peter and I have worked together for a very long time, and I value his opinion. I value his expertise. So before we even came on live, when we were back in the green room, I asked him if he would be willing to come on occasionally, more often as a guest. So this is what we're going to start doing, is having him come on here with us. So we are actually, Peter, if you want to make that not private, make that a comment. I can share that with everybody.
Let me see here.
Yeah, you can just do it as a regular comment. He was sharing his a checklist site for you guys, and I don't know where he just went. So we're going to wait for him to pop back in as soon as he comes back on. You got to love technical issues. He just, you floated away there for a second, my friend.
Well, because I'm not like signed into StreamYard, and so it wants me to sign in. Can you grab it and share it?
Yes, I will grab it and share
Sorry
it.
about that.
That's okay.
Like,
That's
that
all
was the
right.
wrong thing to do.
That is quite all right. No worries. We show them how, technical stuff works here all the time. It's not all perfect, people. It happens. It happens. What do you do? Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. So Peter, dive in and tell us that that scary story.
All right, here we got a story for you. So, I got to take a breath because last week was incredibly stressful. Client calls me at 2 o'clock last Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw one call come through, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll get it later. I'll leave a message.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 10 minutes later, they're calling again. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong.
That's not good.
Like, this is bad. Something's wrong. And so I answer, Peter, the email's not working, website's down, like something's wrong. I'm like,
right.
Oh man. Okay. And so I start digging into their stuff, and I keep track of all my clients' logins, and we host and manage their website for them. And I'm looking up to see their login information for the domain.
Mm-hmm.
And usually what happens is, a domain expires because they forgot to renew it, right? There was an email that came. Yeah. Has anybody ever done that?
Yes. Right here. I know.
Yeah.
I've made that call to Peter. What the?
Yeah. And so I'm assuming that's probably what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized when I start digging into my information I have for them is that I never had a login for their domain. So we moved them over to our hosting a couple years ago, and I had access to make changes to the domain through a different method, but I never actually logged into the main place where the domain lived. And I was like, oh, well, okay. So I got the website set up and everything working, and didn't go back and like revisit that.
Right.
So there's no, okay, where's your login, customer? Give me your login. They sent me some login information. It doesn't work. Call GoDaddy, and talking to GoDaddy, because it's not actually on GoDaddy, but it's on a reseller of GoDaddy.
Okay.
So it's kind of with GoDaddy, but kind of not with GoDaddy.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. What happened was the website guy 2 times ago, my website cousin 3 times removed. As we found out, this took 3 days to get this all sorted out and figured out. 3 days. This client's business, we're talking a manufacturing company. sending out quotes, needing to place orders, doing everything via email, website's down, nothing's working for 3 days.
Oh no.
So through a whole lot of process, talking to a lot of different people, GoDaddy, I can't tell you how many hours I spent on the phone with GoDaddy. We figure out that the website person 3 times ago, who's out of the website business now, somehow had placed this domain in one of his other clients' accounts. And this other client, now you would think if you logged into your GoDaddy account and you saw a domain, it's like, I don't recognize this domain.
Right.
Like maybe you would probably pull that domain up and see if there's a actual viable business related to this domain. And maybe you would contact that business to let them know, hey, I don't know why your domain's in my account, but maybe we should figure this out.
Yeah.
No, that's not what they did. They just canceled it. They called GoDaddy and they canceled the domain. It wasn't supposed to expire until 2026. And it was like, oh. And so apparently there was a little brouhaha between the old website guy and this client. Mel, I don't know, he broke her heart or something. I don't know what happened. She was bitter. I think she was bitter. So this is like a love story about a domain.
A technical love story
gone wrong.
Yeah.
And at first, I'm like, look, you have to talk to this client. I didn't like, he kind of just gave me a little inkling of the idea. Well, I'm like, you got to talk to him. He wouldn't tell me who it was. Like, it was a big secret. He's like, well, let me talk to them. And at first they were like, not our problem. We don't care. Not going to help you at all.
Right.
And then I get on with GoDaddy again. And what GoDaddy was telling me is, guess what? You're going to have to wait 30 days until this domain is available again. And then you can buy it again and have it again.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, okay, that is not an acceptable option.
Right.
So I contact the website guy because I don't know who the other client is. And I said, look, I will pay you tell her I will pay her $1,000 if she'll just give us access to this domain. Like, there is no other way without her help to get this domain back.
Right.
And I mean, like, it's that critical. It's that important.
Right.
If she's upset or feels like it shouldn't have been there, or she paid for it and whatever, like, here, I'll make it right. And he's like, all right, let me see what I can do. So he calls her back and apparently convinces her. I think he promises to take her out to dinner, maybe some country dancing. I don't know what he said. Slap her on the rear. I don't know what the conversation was that he convinced her. He said. And so they agreed to help. And so she had her assistant get on. So I had to get on with her assistant and with GoDaddy, and we had to go through all this stuff and get the domain reactivated and back again.
Wow.
Oh, 3 days.
That is a nightmare.
3 days. That is like one of the worst case scenarios. I've had other situations where I've lost domains, but usually, like, I can go through a process and get it back in like an hour.
Yeah.
But days not knowing where it actually is. So lessons learned, which is why I have the link that I sent you.
Yes, and I have it posted.
Download this worksheet. So there's a few things that you have access to that are related to your website that's super important. One is your domain. We're just talking about domain. So do you have a login where your domain lives? Is it on GoDaddy and GoDaddy's the registrar? Is it namecheap.com? Is it, where is it that you can get access to it? And you got to make sure you have access to it. If your website guy is holding it in his account, make him move it to an account that is just yours.
Right.
Okay. We don't need to hold your domain for you. You hold that domain in your account, we need access to make some updates to the domain, but that's it.
Right.
And then so your domain. So that connects to hosting, that connects to your website, that connects to your email. But having that main access.
Okay.
Hosting's a separate thing. Hosting could be somewhere else. You could have your domain on GoDaddy and your hosting could be on SiteGround or whatever, anywhere else, WP Engine. But your domain is still on GoDaddy, but your hosting could be somewhere else.
Okay.
That's where your website lives, is on that hosting.
Okay.
And then your email could be set up different ways. Your email could be set up through a hosting account, but your email could be on Google Workspace or Office 365.
Right.
And that has its own administrator login.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different administrator login. So this worksheet basically says, here's the 4 logins that you need. You need a login for your domain. You need a login for your hosting,
Mm-hmm.
a login for your website, and you need an admin login for your email.
Okay.
Those are the 4 super important things that you got to have. Make sure you have access to. Make sure you have current credit card on there, and that will make sure that you don't have to have 3 days of everything going down all of a sudden, and you're not sure what's happening, and you're not getting any emails, and you can't do business, and all of that.
That's just insane. I'm going to put the list back up here again because I think that's super important for people to see that. In fact, I'm going to copy that down myself. Although I will, full transparency, Peter hosts our website. So we have full access to it. He takes care of everything for us. I'm just very appreciative of that. Now I have a question, and I know it's, me, I'm a dingbat. But when it comes to this stuff, but I think a lot of other people don't understand this as well. So when it comes to the separate hosting and the domain name, so I can purchase my domain name through GoDaddy, but I can host the website through you.
Through me, through all kinds of places. Yeah. And for me, getting a domain on GoDaddy is great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of their hosting services.
Right.
And how that operates. But as far as domains, GoDaddy's a great place. What's great about that, even through this process, is that I could call someone at GoDaddy.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't always like the answer I got, but at least I could talk to somebody. They could look at things. They could give me information. So, they have a really good support staff and support system in regards to the domain side of things. So I recommend everybody get your domains on GoDaddy.
I love it. Yeah, that's what you recommended to me. And that's where I have our, Top Hat Creative Marketing. And then I have my other business, the Boob Report, on there as well. Yep. So I own both those domain names and I pay attention to those emails.
Yes. Pay attention to those emails. They're important.
Yes. Because Peter's had to deal with me before going, oh my God, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Yes.
So it is incredibly important. And this is awesome that you're sharing this, Peter. I really appreciate this because I think this, for a lot of people, they'll go out and do their own website and they think they know what they're doing, but then they realize, oh, I don't own that domain name, or I don't own, I don't have access to where my website is being hosted. Yeah. And it is vitally important. We did a Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago on your Google My Business page, and it is frightening how many businesses are not the primary owner of their own Google My Business page.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of in that same category of, here are the things, if you're a local business, that you must have access to.
Yes.
And that's right there with it.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you don't have a brick and mortar, for a Google business page, you still set it up as a service area. You still have to be the primary owner on that page, just like you have to be the primary owner of your website. Yes. And for me, I think a lot of people, they just don't understand it. And I freely admit, they don't understand how important it is to have good communication and a good relationship with your website person.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. You want to make sure that there's an understanding, at least, that while I might manage or host your website,
Mhm.
It doesn't belong to me. I don't own it. It belongs to you. You own it. You own the content on that website.
Mhm.
You own all the materials on the website, the images. It belongs to you, whoever, the owner of the website is. I just manage it.
Right.
And if you can't get access, or there's not easy access, or it's not something that they want to hold and not give you information for, then I would be nervous about that.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, they get sort of pressured into, okay, we're going to set all of this up for you, but then they don't ever get their own login and password. I mean, they
Yeah,
don't ever have that access to their
right.
website. And that's just so wrong. That's,
Yeah.
total bad practice.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can become a challenge for your business. So I told you at the beginning, before we went live, I take 10% of the fault of the situation, because whenever I moved everything over, I saw that, the previous, website company said, well, we don't have access to the domain. And I just made an assumption that the client must have access.
Hmm.
I don't need it right now because I have another way to access what I need to get to. So I didn't think about it, wasn't worried about it, and just assumed the client had access. And I think the client thought they had access too,
Hmm.
but we didn't verify it. I didn't actually log into the account and check it and verify things were where they were supposed to be. So I've added that to my checklist. Most of the
Yeah.
time, that doesn't come up where the previous person tells me, "Oh, we don't have a login." Most of the time, clients say, "Oh yeah, I have a GoDaddy login. Great, I have
Hmm.
them." You can delegate access in GoDaddy to me, where I don't have to log into your account, but I can sign into my account and then access just what I need to get access to.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's what I try to set up with my clients. That way I don't have to bother them when I need to get into their account and make an update or change. And then they maintain all the ownership of
Hmm.
the domain and can do whatever they want to whenever they want to.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I think the checklist is so important. I look at it as, and uh, my husband, he's a pilot, and there's
mhm,
a checklist before
right?
you ever
They
leave the
live by
ground.
checklists.
Yes.
Live.
So live them. Yeah. And so that's what you need to do with your business is you have to have a checklist for your website, for your Google My Business page, for
Yes.
your social media stuff. You have to have a checklist so that you are keeping up with everything. No matter if someone else is managing it for you,
Mhm.
you still need to be able to step in and log into everything and
Yep.
have access to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this was an incredible learning experience, and I got to tell you, I got a little sick to my stomach with that story because, ooh, I can't imagine
Right.
that type of business being down for 3 days with no website.
Yeah. It was a big deal. So everything's fixed now. We're all good. We got
Yeah.
through it, but it was 3 days of, oh crap.
Wow, I can't imagine. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I so appreciate you coming on and being willing to be an occasional co-host with me, coming on
Yep.
here and just
Let's
talking
do it.
about it. Because I really think, with the past 2 years of everything that's happened, I think a lot of more people are staying home. They're realizing, hey, I can start my own business. I can start my own consulting and this and that. And I don't think they realize how important websites are. So
Yep.
having you come on with me and we can talk about things, aligning those with your Google My Business page is going to be really important to help those people gain a really awesome online presence.
You got it.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Yep.